Yeah, this is Shut 'em Down Radio. I'm your host, 30 Salo. You know the number, 347-850-1177. We doing an interview with Maryann Begard. We have a caller, 916-267. Let's get it. 916.
No, it's me. It's Maryann.
Hey, Maryann, how you doing?
Good. I lost my connection, so I called back in. I'm not sure what's going on, but I thought we had a bad connection.
Right. Now, I know you do the R&B. Now, currently, what city do you come from?
I'm in Sacramento, California.
Okay.
Capital city.
That's what's up. Now, how did you get into music?
As far as just my love for music started when I was really, really young. I mean, I knew I liked to sing, and I was always coming up with a lot of ideas from the time I was, probably 5 or 6. I started actually writing songs and trying to write songs when I was probably somewhere around 8 or 9. I remember trying to write some lyrics, and then I did choir in high school. I actually went to high school out in Clearwater in Florida, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I got family in New York too. I lived out there for a little while when I was really, really young.
Right.
But I did choir for a little while. I knew I liked to sing, and then I didn't start really trying to take it serious and realizing that it was something I could do until I had been in a situation where I had met some local rappers out here when I moved back to California and started getting in the studio and singing some little hooks here and there. It really opened my eyes to the availability of the studio world, that I could even do it myself. And so then, from there it progressed. I just started meeting people and networking, and then realizing that it was something I was really, really passionate about and wanted to take seriously.
Okay. I definitely like the music. And do you put your life into your music, or you put, other people's lives into your music? Because it's really descriptive.
I would say a little bit of both. I would say the majority of what you hear is me, my life, and then my producer. He co-writes a lot of stuff with me, so he's in there too. His life. We're really similar though, how we feel about things. So we both express ourselves in a similar way. But I definitely will never pass up the opportunity if I see something that's a good writing idea or material, maybe that someone in my family, one of my friends, someone around me is going through. I use that as inspiration to write too. So sometimes it has to do with maybe something someone else is going through that inspired me. But a lot of it's centered around my feelings about things and kind of my point of view and me personally.
Right. Now, I was looking at the description of your music. It's future R&B, gangster bass, stripper music, right? So,
yeah, I mean, those are little things I like to call it, where I would say it's different.
Okay, your own interpretation of it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So what with your music, what do you consider yourself? Pop, R&B, or are you an infusion of all genres of music?
I would say, at the heart of it, because of the soul and the funk that is in the music, it's definitely soul and R&B, but there's hip-hop. There's so much hip-hop and rap influence in there, too.
Right.
And somehow, even in making those sounds, I have a way of, I think with the type of voice that I have and the way that I do things, that definitely gives it a pop edge. So, ultimately, there's always pop in there, too. I know a lot of electronic influence, too. I kind of...
Right.
I don't have a set... I just vibe out. If I hear a beat that I like, if it's more of an electronic vibe, or maybe it's poppier, or even some hip-hop, I just write to that. I always tend to make it a little poppy just because of my voice, but really the style, it's kind of a fusion of everything because I go off of vibes, so it's just really what I'm feeling in that moment.
Okay. So now, are you currently signed, or are you independent?
No, I'm an independent artist, all do-it-yourself style, independent.
Okay. Yeah, ain't no problem with being independent. Now, who did you grow up on? Who inspired you, as far as music?
I think, I knew I always loved R&B and soul music. When I first started singing, being really young, my dad is, a major Janet Jackson fan. So I would say Janet is, something that before I even really cared about music that much when I was so young that I didn't really know, I didn't really grasp it till I was probably more like 10, 11. Then I really started to a fan and obsess over music. I didn't know, but that was something like that my dad really loved, that I loved, and then I realized that singing style-wise, those were the types of songs I like to sing. So, I remember, singing Janet again for my family to show them that I could sing when I was 10. That's the kind of song that I would use to show someone, this is how I sound. So obviously I kind of always was influenced towards that. I sang in talent shows. I sang, I think in my 7th grade talent show, I sang Brandy, Have You Ever? No one was really doing that. So it was kind of, audacious, that I was that young and that's what I was into. And, a lot of the sounds, I would say, getting older into my teenage years, definitely from West Coast, of course, Mac Dre and E40 and all of that, hyphy movement. I went through that out here, so I'm glad the sound's kind of coming back now. And that, and I remember Keisha Cole, Cassie's first record influenced me so much when I was, a teenager, because I felt like that was a style that I really liked. And even some of my music, I get compared to her a lot, too. Some of the vibes in there. I love what her and Ryan Leslie did. Christina Aguilera, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Jay Dilla as a producer, super dope hip-hop producer. That's the kind of main things that I think of when I think about Craig David's first record.
Right. I see you really seasoned with artists, Now, being independent, how do you feel about it? And how have any record labels contacted you? How do they perceive you? The fan feedback,
I think as far as being independent, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. I think it's hard. It's hard because, the main thing that the independent artists are missing are gigantic budgets for radio promotion.
Yeah,
and
distribution,
promotion, yes, in general, making sure that my album comes out and it's in Target and it's in, every store. That is something I think is missing. But I do believe that with the way that the industry is changing, record sales now being where an artist is coming out with charting on the Billboard with selling 70 to 100,000 records in the top, few albums, where it used to be a record label might drop you 8 years ago for selling less than 500,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
The standards have changed so much that, there's a new way of doing things. You're seeing artists like OG Mako and Bobby Shmurda being the first people to go viral solely off of social networking. That's different, and that hasn't happened before. I think there's a new avenue and a new way of doing things for independent artists that's actually opening up a humongous door for people like me to be able to come in that don't have a major backing like that and still be competitive, because even being on a major label, I see artists that are on major labels that, they might sit for a year and a half after getting signed and not have any music out. I mean, that's a year and a half that no one's promoting anything from you. I see that. For me, I would be really frustrated with that. So I see those as negatives. But
I agree with you fully.
I do think that there's a dope thing about having a label backing when you do have the promotion and the budgets, and there's a lot of things they can do for you too. So it's a two-way street. It's just it has to be the right thing. If a label were to come at me with something that worked for me that I felt was fair because I know my worth, and I know how much I do, that as an indie artist, I know the fact that I do a lot of my artwork and I'm doing my own videos, and my producer and I, we're kind of a do-it-yourself team.
Right.
A lot of artists don't do that, so I know that in turn I feel that that's worth a lot, so I keep that in mind. If they came at me with something that I felt like was fair, then I would consider it, but at the moment, I'm just trying to grind and do what I can myself. And there have been a couple of labels and different people have hollered at me so far. Some of the time it's for me and my music as an artist. Some of the time it's for the production and songwriting that me and my partner do. So it's kind of half and half. Some people are looking at me as a thing. Some people are looking at what I'm doing, and they just like the sound. And they want that for their artist that they already put money into and signed, because they don't have any money invested in me. But if I could give them something hot for their artist, then, So
hey, ghostwriting ain't bad,
Not at all. Truthfully, first and foremost, before being a singer or a rapper or any other things that I'm doing, songwriting has been what has driven me, like my favorite thing to do, and that's really like where it comes from, That's my main drive. So for me, being behind the scenes and doing that, I'm just as happy there and comfortable doing that too. I'd love to do that. So I'm trying to get in that door too.
Right. So now, currently, up to this day, have you did any shows, or you have any upcoming shows coming?
I have done a few shows here and there, like some local stuff out here, some stuff closer to the Bay Area, like, San Francisco type Bay Area. But I'm not really focused on shows as much right now. I mean, it's a focus now that I'm about to start focusing on because I do have this new project dropping. I want to promote it. But, the way I feel is I'm really focused on just right now building a catalog of really good music and getting my name out there so that when I do have a show, people are going to come to see me, and that they want to be there. And, I think there's two sides of it. I could be out doing a bunch of shows, using that to promote, and in turn bringing fans in. And I do want to do that, but at the same time, right now I've been really focused on just staying in the studio, writing songs for myself, trying to demo stuff for other people to also build my name in that way. So shows are the next focus. I don't have anything specific right now, but that's like pretty much going to be the next thing I'm about to start working on once this project drops next week.
Okay, so what is that project name that's dropping?
But this is what the moon sounds like is the name of the EP.
All right. So do you have a date for it?
Yeah, it'll be available on the 30th of October on iTunes, CD Baby, probably like Amazon, Spotify, RDIO Beats, anything like that for streaming too. So, yeah, it should be pretty much everywhere, at least online right now, yeah.
So pretty much, do you deal with all in-house producers or, say, for instance, somebody that sends you beats? Is that acceptable?
It's always acceptable. I'm really open, right now, like, pretty much everything I have has been produced by my partner, and his name is Space. But he goes by Space. Some people know him as Nate the Great. Me and him started this together. We've been working together for like 5 years, and he's writing all the songs with me. So he's involved, whether it's somebody else's beat or not. He's usually recording, engineering, mixing, mastering, writing the songs with me. So he's there either way. He's so dope. He's so versatile. He started as an underground hip-hop producer for a long time and doing, like, West Coast gangster. When we met, he changed over to doing some R&B stuff, and then, since then has broadened his horizons to doing electronic music and pop music. So he's kind of, as I've been growing, he's been growing too, so we've kind of created a sound together. So it's part of what people like about my music is our sound together. So it's not that I don't work with other people. It just has to be fire. If they send me the hottest record, I'm guaranteed you're going to mess with it. It just, it's hard when you have someone that you just know could do anything for you, that you work with so close all the time, that I could tell him, make me this style right now, this is the mood I'm in, and he could do it. Not every producer is a songwriter or, they don't know all the aspects, so it makes them hard to compete with.
Right. So how was your studio regimen? Like, as far as, composing your songs, do you mess with live instruments, or how does it go?
I've had some live instrumentation on some of the songs. With a lot of the production, he's got a pretty nasty bass line and key game, so, that's part of his strong suit, even the versatility. So if someone's really dope and they're down to work and they're here, but the hardest part is with the do-it-yourself, if you're not just, like hitting up people and paying them every time and doing all the stuff, or maybe they can't come through, it's so much easier if you can do it yourself to just do it yourself. You know?
That's true.
So because people are flakes a lot of times, and we really just try not to rely on anyone else, because a lot of times we have people don't come through, so we know that the two things that we can rely on for our sound are his production and me.
That's right.
Speaking of that,
we're going to get into one of your tracks right here. This is Maryann, You and Me, produced by Nate the Great. Let's get it. I'm definitely feeling the music. Rocking out with Maryann. That's a good track right there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's one of my favorites, too.
You're welcome. Now, how do you feel about radio nowadays? Like currently what they're playing on the radio. Do you think they're being fair towards indie artists? Is anybody trying to push artists anymore? You know how they used to gravitate towards the artists? Or do you think the artists have to gravitate towards the industry execs and stuff like that to conform, like conformity? Because I see like your songs are like really more visual, infused with your music. So have you ever had anybody try to tell you, oh, well, change this up and, do it a different way?
Yeah, I've definitely had that happen so far, people telling me, oh, I should be doing more like really poppy records and, maybe some more up-tempo dance songs. And I've had a lot of people tell me things, but at the same time, I think with radio, it's like, the industry is changing. The radio is still a big thing, and it's still a place where it is hard to get on as an indie artist, like I was saying before about labels having, budgets for the radio. A campaign for radio, might be 30, 100,000 or more. Like,
right.
Who has that kind of money as an indie artist without a deal? But at the same time, I think what's good about it for indie artists and people like me is that there's a lot more, you have outlets like you. You have a lot more internet radio. You have like
right.
Slacker and Pandora and, just Last FM, whatever you can stream through Beats if your album's on there, which anyone could do. There's so many more streaming services. I think there's a lot more of an ability to independently get radio play. Like I remember when, think about the time when singles took 6 months to get on the radio. Now it seems like
right.
the campaign for a song lasts. If it doesn't hit in the first month because of the internet and everyone's already heard it, maybe it won't hit. And then there's
right.
songs that still take, for indie artists as they're coming up, it might take a year, and then now their song from a year ago hits. It's so, it's really hard to know the inner workings of why that happens. But at the same time, there's always going to be that, when you're dealing with a corporation, if you're dealing with Clear Channel, you're dealing with things, there is a hard thing for indie artists to get past. But I do think that there's a lot more avenues to try to get there now with the internet and with networking, that you can find a way to do that. If your song's hot, it could blow
right.
up on
SoundCloud.
Yeah, it's going to be on the radio because the internet now can rule what happens on the radio. Just like the clubs. If my song, I get it to some DJs, they're playing it out here, say it goes viral in the Bay Area, someone's
right.
going to hear that, and they're going to take it, and they're going to take it to L.A., and it's going to go to Atlanta, and it's going to come to New York. Like,
hey,
you
word
can't
of
really
mouth.
stop that. Yeah, if it's hot, it's hot. So I just believe in making good music and doing your best to promote it and get it out there. Like, someone's going to find you, and they're going to want to play your song if it's hot. Definitely.
Well said. And could you tell everybody your SoundCloud handle?
My SoundCloud handle is soundcloud.com/extraordinaryann, and the way you spell it is with an X. So it's XTRAORDINARYANN, like Extraordinary Ann without the E.
Okay. All right. Now, for any artists that want to collaborate with you, what's your email?
My contact email would be probably for my partner, Nate, and his is Nate@ncrowdentertainment.com. And Ncrowd Entertainment is our crew, and that's our label, and that's where they can also go to the website and see some of our new releases and music. So that's a good place to look for us too.
Okay. All right. Now, with the industry, do you think they're watering down the industry? Meaning, like, a lot of songs coming out nowadays, it doesn't have no feeling anymore, especially with R&B. I hear a lot of people talking about that. How do you feel about that?
I'm iffy about that. I'm not sure, because I do think that people have been complaining about that for a long time.
Right.
There's been party and club, drinking, smoking, those kind of songs have been hot for a minute, more than just right now, I think the feelings have changed a little bit maybe, in the R&B world, and I think R&B is making a comeback right now, which is what I think is super dope. Like, you have artists like The Weeknd and, you know, like Party Next Door and that kind of stuff, you know, Tinashe, Jenny Aiko, like things like that. That's, you know, that's R&B. It's dope. I love it. I think it's great that it's starting to, I think, become popular again. So it makes a great door opener for an artist like me that's kind of right in that genre. So, I mean, I think that there's always going to be the battle between music that doesn't have a message and music, you know, that's for the party environment. People always like party music, you know.
Right.
People like to feel happy because a lot of those songs they play in the club. When you're at the club, you know, you might not necessarily want to hear the most deepest, you know, heartfelt messages. You usually listen to those in a different venue. And I do think a lot of artists have those kind of songs. It's just that the singles and the things that get pushed to the radio and the club aren't necessarily going to be those songs. So it's not that there isn't that kind of substance.
Right.
It's just that you have to look for it. So if you're looking for it, you're going to find it.
Okay. And what will your fans, what will they actually, like, if a fan is checking for you, what are they looking for in the future from you?
You know, I think right now, you know, I'm just really starting to see my fan base start to really grow and kind of grasp onto what I'm doing. And I've been doing it for a few years now, really promoting, but I think a lot of people are just starting to notice me. So, you know, they hear what I'm doing right now, and if they heard what I was doing, you know, 2.5, 3 years ago, I was a little bit more on like a more neo-soul, R&B pop, hip-hop influence, where now I'm kind of doing a little bit more futuristic R&B club and, you know, smoke tracks and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I change, but I always go back. Like, I don't forget about styles that I've been into or where I started from. I definitely try to always make songs that touch on what I've been doing for a long time. So they can always expect to hear funk and soul and, you know, content and lyrics in what I'm doing. You know, the style might change a little bit, and, you know, I like to experiment, so I definitely might try some experimental stuff. So, you know, they can imagine I might do some more like indie electronic stuff, or, you know, I might go back to doing just straight singing on some hip-hop beats. That's just like how I am. I like to go back and forth. So they can expect to hear a variety from me always, like that I'm going to continue to change, and kind of that's just who I am. So, you know, then at that point they're always going to be surprised. But I think there's a thread of consistency through all the music that it never changes so much that I lose the integrity of the sound initially that makes me who I am, you know?
Right. Now we're going to get into your track right here, Maryann Landon, produced by...
Space. Space is how you say it.
Okay, yeah, you spelled it a totally different way.
Yeah, it's like SBVCE, but Space is how you say it, yeah.
Right. Okay, let's get it.
All right.
Some
It's a good interview. Now, you have any closing words?
Well, I guess basically I just want to thank you for having me, and
no problem.
Shout out to Shut 'Em Down Radio, and, I hope everyone that was listening will go and check out my new EP when it drops next week. It'll be on sale on Thursday. It'll also be streamable. I actually think it's getting a premiere on Tuesday on ashleyoutrageous.com.
Okay.
So people will be able to premiere it there. Tomorrow, the EDM XXX Network is premiering one of the songs called Take Over the World. They have a SoundCloud. If you search EDM and XXX on SoundCloud, you'll find them. They're going to premiere a song. So, yeah, I just hope people stay up on the music. I hope they enjoy what they're hearing and what I continue to put out. I'm definitely on my grind right now, so they can expect to hear a lot of new stuff and a lot of new sounds coming soon. So, yeah, and a shout-out to my producer, Space. Everyone can go check him out. SoundCloud.com/Space. It's SBVCE. He has some dope remixes and original music on there, too. I think people would enjoy if they like my stuff. So.
And definitely appreciate you calling in. And I need one more thing. I need a drop for Shut 'Em Down Radio.
All right. You ready?
Let's get it.
All right. This is Maryann Baygod. You're listening to Shut 'Em Down Radio, the best radio station on the internet, and definitely stay with it. Check it out.
Yes. And have a great night. And your music's going to be in rotation.
Definitely.
All right. Take care.
I'm looking forward to coming back. Thanks.
No problem. All right.
Bye.
Good night. Yeah, we just rocked out. Great interview with Maryann Baygod and Shut 'Em Down Radio, bringing exclusive interviews. Send that music to shut'emdown0@gmail.com and check out www.shut'emdownradio.com. And we up out of here, man. Peace.